Well, hundreds of South Korean nationals will have to wait a little longer for their flight back home. That's because the charter operation to take the 300-plus ICE detainees has been postponed. Last week in southwest Georgia, they were rounded up in a raid at a Hyundai plant. And we're tracking the flight right now with Flight Radar 24. It departed from Seoul, South Korea just last night. It was originally set to head back to South Korea later this afternoon. I think it was 2:30 p.m. But again, those plans have since changed. The South Koreans were among 475 people who were arrested last Thursday, and authorities say some of them had illegally crossed the U.S. border. Others had entered the country legally but had expired visas. Some entered on a visa waiver that prohibited them from working. And now an attorney for some of the detained workers says many were doing work authorized under the B-1 business visitor visa program, and they hadn't planned to be in the U.S. longer than 75 days. We'll keep you posted. Well, a man is in the hospital with serious injuries this morning after getting hit by a car. Brookhaven police say it happened around 6 a.m. at the intersection of North Druid Hills Road and Executive Park Drive. This is near Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. A man in his 30s was found laying in the road. He was taken to Grady for treatment. Several lanes were shut down as cops investigated, and the driver, by the way, did stay on the scene and spoke with police, so it wasn't a hit-and-run situation there. Breaking news now out of Midtown Atlanta. The Four Seasons Hotel is now the focus of a police investigation after officers shot a man. That person is dead, and we're awaiting details on why this encounter turned deadly. Good Day's Mark Teichner is live near the hotel with more on what we do know. Mark, good morning.
Yeah, it's right, Alex. And what we do know is that this man, apparently, according to police, went into the lobby of the Four Seasons, started waving a weapon around, and by the time everything was over, that man was dead.
In the lobby of the Four Seasons Hotel, brandishing his firearm.
A man is killed by police at the Midtown Atlanta Four Seasons Hotel. At 12:48 Wednesday morning, police got the call about the man being armed inside the lobby. By the time the three officers arrived, police tell us the man had gone outside.
He started to walk around the building, going towards the parking garage. He was confronted by the police, where they gave him several verbal commands for him to drop his weapon.
Police say when he refused, at least one officer opened fire, killing the suspect.
The officers discharging their firearms. The suspect was, the officer immediately rendered aid to the suspect. Unfortunately, he succumbed to his injuries.
Investigators say it's too early to know if the suspect was staying at the hotel. They also couldn't give us his age or name. None of the officers were injured.
We don't know anything about how many times they discharged their firearm.
For much of the night, they had the front entrance to the Four Seasons blocked off. The GBI has taken over the investigation. Reporting live from Midtown, I'm Mark Teichner for Good Day Atlanta. Alex, back to you.
Still a lot of questions there, Mark. Thank you. Well, Atlanta police are investigating a shooting that left a teenager dead. Officers arrived at the Villages at Carver Complex on Maury Avenue. It was just after midnight when they found a 17-year-old bleeding from bullet wounds. He later died at the hospital. Detectives say they don't have a motive or a suspect description right now, and they're hoping witnesses and surveillance video at the complex will help with clues. A Fulton County judge plans on dropping racketeering charges against 61 so-called Stop Cop City protesters. The allegations range from hurling Molotov cocktails at police to supplying food to activists camped out near the site. 5 of those 61 defendants also face arson and domestic terrorism charges.
According to the indictment, and this is a quote, some of the major ideas that anarchists promote include collectivism, mutual aid, and social solidarity. What happens when the state says that these concepts are unlawful? It can suppress our very human urge to engage in these very human things.
The judge said that Attorney General Chris Carr should have asked the governor before taking over a local case. Carr's office vowed to appeal, writing the Attorney General will continue the fight against domestic terrorists and violent criminals who want to destroy life and property. Well, a man accused of stabbing a woman to death on board a train in Charlotte will now face federal charges. Those charges could carry the death penalty. The Justice Department is questioning why the suspect, DeCarlos Brown, wasn't already behind bars based on his record. This attack comes as the Trump administration had already been highlighting crime in larger cities.
We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are.
Had he been held in custody, she would be alive today.
President Trump said as early as today he would announce another city that he wants to see federal law enforcement patrol. Well, we're learning new details about potential changes for Atlanta Public Schools. It's in an effort to address low enrollment and improve efficiency. Officials estimate between 11 and 13 schools could be affected out of almost 24 scenarios that they're considering. So those options include reassigning students to other schools and merging some of them. Others would be repurposed. And leaders are also thinking about keeping certain schools open and adding seats for students in other schools. APS, though, has hired a consulting group to create the list of scenarios. The school board will decide which, if any, it would like to move forward with. In Coweta County, where last month a family dispute turned violent, we're now learning more about the woman who was shot. A GoFundMe identifies her as Ian Smith. Her son created the page to raise money to help with her medical expenses. He says she's still in the ICU. That night, when Coweta County deputies responded to the scene on Wedgwood Circle, they shot at a suspect who they identify as Justin Perez Smith. He's on your screen now. He didn't get hit, but he's been charged with false imprisonment and aggravated assault. The next update is on a suspected DUI crash that left an 8-year-old dead. It happened last Saturday night in DeKalb County on the access road along Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. Police say a drunk driver slammed into the car she was riding in, and we now know the young girl is Mariah Johnson. Her mother started up a GoFundMe to help with funeral expenses. Gosh, she's got a sweet face, doesn't she? She describes her daughter as a bright light and says Mariah leaves behind 4 siblings. That GoFundMe also says Mariah's funeral is set for September 22nd. Finally, in Clayton County, another gun violence victim's family wants your support. 16-year-old Zion Barrett was found dead Saturday near Paladin Drive and Starling Trail. That's in Hampton. He's described as a kind-hearted, funny, and joyful teen. His grandmother, Yvonne Barrett, raised him as her own, and back in 2019, she adopted him.
And I kept telling him I need to see him. I need to see him. I want to hold his hand. I just wanted to hold him. Just let him know I was there.
Can hear the heartbreak in her voice. Earlier this week at a home on Starling Trail, Clayton County Police kicked in a door and brought out 2 people in cuffs. You can see our cameras were rolling at the time. We're still waiting to find out if the people in that will be charged in connection to this case. In all, the GoFundMes for those 3 families have collected more than $7,000. We have links to those pages posted at fox5atlanta.com.